In our previous chapter we have uploaded all the necessary files for our Joomla install, and now is the time to continue with really installing it. And what we'll need to do is open up a browser window. So I will open up Internet Explorer and browse through your web server's address. So that would be www.whatever.com. And in this case, or in my case, it is joomla15.joomtorial.com. Of course, here you fill in the address of your domain name. As you can see, we are immediately redirected to installation/index.php. And the first step is choose language. As you can see, there's a complete list of all languages here, and here you can choose the language that you would like to do this install in. I will remain doing the installation in English US. And then you can click on Next. This is a very important step, the pre-installation check. As it states at the first part, if any of the items on this part are red and marked as no, it doesn't meet the minimum requirements. And I have one red item, one no item, which is my configuration.php is not writable. This is something that could occur to you, so in this sample, a sample is always nice if it works flawless, but you don't learn anything from it. So in this case, it's a good thing that we encounter an issue here, because I will show you how to solve this issue. But it also states you can still continue the installation, as the configuration settings will be displayed at the end, and you will have to manually upload the code. So that is good to know. We can still continue, only at the end we need to manually upload it. So we will get there eventually. The recommended settings, they're all green. Again, as it states, should you have a few red items here, it doesn't really matter, because it will still operate even if your settings do not match. But should you have, say, the PHP version on no in the recommended, or in the how to say, the minimum requirements, then you have a problem. Should you have MySQL support on no, you also have a problem. The only one where you continue is with the configuration.php. So I will continue and click on Next. We have the license file. Of course, I agree on that and click on Next. Then the database configuration. What I will do here is I will deliberately make mistakes here so that you can see what kinds of errors you might encounter. But the basic database settings should be something that should be given to you by your web hosting company. They should state what the host name of the MySQL is. In 99% of the cases it is localhost. Should you have received an email where your MySQL information has been given, it could be something that is like mysqlconnect.com. Again, that should be a setting. If it's not localhost, it should be given by your provider. I will use a fake username and a fake password and a fake database name, and I will click on Next. As you can see, an error has occurred, could not connect to the database. So this is what you get if one of those lines were not correctly filled in. So I go back to the previous, And in my case, my host name is localhost. My username is that. My password is that. And my database name is that. We can also have a peek at advanced settings. In this case, I will delete existing table. Should there be anything from a previous install, I'm deleting it. But basically, when you have a fresh install, you can leave advanced settings as they are. Now I've filled in my correct settings, hopefully that is, and then I will click on Next. We do not get an error, so that means that the database settings were correct. In the previous chapter we have uploaded files through FTP, and here we get FTP configuration again. Since Joomla has gone from 1.0 to 1.5, they've built in a so-called FTP file system layer, which should cope with certain problems when you install third-party extensions in Joomla. I generally leave it on no, but if you intend to use the FTP file system layer, you filled it in or click the radio button on yes. You use the same FTP user password and path as you've used in your FileZilla. And after that you can also try to do the auto find FTP path, and you can verify your settings, so that should be clear. Again, I choose to have it on no. It doesn't really matter for Joomla, but sometimes on some web servers it has a bit of difficulties, so you can choose yes. I would prefer with a fresh install to first have it on no. And I click on next. Then we have the main configuration. I will name my website Joomla Video Tutorials. My email is info@joomtorial.com. So also, should you have any questions related to any issue, info@joomtorial.com. Here I can make up a password, which will be the admin password for the Joomla administration part. And here is another setting at the bottom. Install default sample data. As it also states, installing sample data is strongly recommended for beginners. It will install sample data content that is included in the Joomla installation package. Again, if you're totally new to Joomla or not so known to Joomla, using the sample data is a very good thing to learn Joomla, because your Joomla installation is then filled with all kinds of modules and content, and categories and sections have been made in the sample data. They've played around with showing modules on this page and having them disappear on other pages, and you can peek how they've done that. So that is where install sample data is a good thing. So for this tutorial I will also install sample data. You do need to click the button install, and as you can see, sample data installed successfully. The load migration script is should you have a former Joomla 1.0 website and you want to migrate it to 1.5, you could use migration scripts. That's not the case here. So we have filled in the site name, email, admin password. We've installed the sample data, so we can click on next again. A few important notifications here. Please remember to completely remove the installation directory. You will not be able to proceed beyond this point until the installation directory has been removed. So we need to go to FileZilla and basically in the web server part, so the right part, we need to erase the installation directory. Now I would suggest that if you are just trying out and would like to have a few attempts, it's very convenient to not delete it but to rename it. So what I'll do is I'll rename it to installation underscore done. What that does is where it says it cannot proceed beyond until it has been removed, the Joomla installation check does not recognize the underscore done, so for the system it has been removed. Mind you, if you're totally done with it, then it's okay to remove, but this gives us an opportunity that should we mess up a certain thing, we can easily redo an installation by renaming it again and removing the underscore done. And what we could do then is directly go to installation/index.php and we could perform a new install. So we don't need to upload it again, we can just do a new install from scratch. So that is just a little tip that should you know that you might be testing it a little bit and experimenting a little bit, this is a nice little trick. Don't remove your installation file, but just rename it. Then, the other important part which we were warned at for at the installation check, the configuration file is not writable. There was a problem and we need to upload it by hand. Name this file configuration.php and upload it to your site root folder. So what I'll do is if I click here, the entire text, the entire configuration gets selected. So what I'll do is I'll copy that and I will use the most simplistic way of dealing with this, and that is I will open up Notepad. Be sure to use Notepad and not Word. It's of essence that you use Notepad here. I will paste the information that I have and I will save my file on the desktop. On the desktop I said. And I will name it configuration.php. And then I click on Save. It has been saved in Notepad. I can close that down. And now with FileZilla, I'll go up one folder, and that is by clicking the double dot there. And there is my configuration.php, and I need to upload it to the root folder which I'm in. So I right click it and I will say upload. And as you can see, we first only had php-dist and now we have the configuration file. So we did both things that were mentioned here. We removed or renamed the installation directory and we have uploaded the configuration.php. So we can now choose to go to the site or to the admin part, and I will choose to go to the site. So I click on that and there we have the installed Joomla site with as you can see, the sample data installed. We've got a horizontal menu here, we've got a main menu here, we've got a resources menu, we've got a login form, we've got all kinds of modules like latest news and popular, we've got polls, who's online, we've got advertisements. So that is what the Joomla installation does when you use install sample data